Robots Radio presents
Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
I'm not usually a Hat fan, but wow.
Jeg vil ikke være en dagger.
I'm really sipping on that dumb bitch juice today, and
Yeah, I am. But you know what? Someday I just might grow out of that. But you will never stop being a jerk.
All chocolate cakes are good. You're a fascist.
it's hideous.
It's horrible.
It's home. Angry white boy, let's go!
Hello, and welcome to Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast. The guest at your Christmas table that you kind of didn't want to come, but they came anyway, and now you've just got to sit through the next 3 hours and get it done. That's Simone LaRue.
And that's Chad Ekowitz. I love this situation because it can always be solved by either sipping a little more wine more frequently than you usually would, or just like stuffing your face the whole time so you can't answer questions.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, that's the best way to handle it. I like your guide to surviving Christmas. I think we should all sort of have a little booklet of how to handle each relative. And I think it would be equally as useful to give said book to your significant other so that they know how to handle it.
So smart. Guys, can I teach you a phrase that will serve you in life right now? Which is,
Please
I don't
do.
really know enough about that to have an opinion on it. Or,
Wow.
I don't really want to talk about that right now.
Damn, those are both beautiful sayings.
Thanks.
I would have never thought to use the second one.
And there's
for
no
sure.
shame in
The first
using
one.
those. It's fine to admit you
Yeah.
don't know enough about something rather than awkwardly, ignorantly stumbling your way through a debate that you don't understand.
That's very true. I also love some folksy wisdom that you could put on it. Sort of something like, well, swings and roundabouts, and then just leave it at that. Or, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, really.
It's much of a
Doing that.
muchness, isn't it?
Exactly, because you can't argue about it.
Yeah.
Like, there is no, like, when it's a
It's true.
debate like that, and it's a stupid debate, like,
It's true.
how do we fix the Middle East crisis? 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
The other, isn't it?
Like, you can't deny that that's an accurate reading of it.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. Just like, well, it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. What a world we live in, hey?
Isn't this a crazy time to be alive?
Oh, yeah, exactly. It would be like, those are some really good
Yeah.
platitudes to just dish out at the Christmas table.
Or you get an incredibly boring hobby, and every time someone tries to steer the conversation somewhere you don't want to go, you go, did I tell you about this one fascinating aspect of my hobby that is not fascinating? And then no one will talk to you.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Or be really into something like Risk.
Yeah.
That's like a very boring board game. Like, I love Risk, but you're absolutely right. See, I think the problem with you though is you just picked up 2 incredibly interesting hobbies. So, and one of them is relatively divisive amongst sort of bigoted middle-aged men.
I honestly don't know what hobby you're talking about.
The pole dancing.
Pole dancing, yes. Yeah.
Middle-aged men are going to be like, oh, you're training to be a stripper and blah, blah. And it's like, fuck off.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd necessarily bring that up at a Christmas lunch.
I think you
That's
should just to, cause chaos.
I just
Why
don't
not?
think it's a conversation I want to have, explaining like, actually it has a long history, and I don't think
Yeah,
we should
I think that's
distance
fair enough.
ourselves from sex workers because they made the sport what it is, but also you shouldn't sexualize me
exactly.
just because I do this very athletic sport.
At least you and I have the perfect sort of conversation starter and conversation continuer and tangent creator
Podcast.
through this podcast, because everyone, as you have said from the very beginning, everyone has a bad movie that they just have in their heart,
I love
ready to unload.
I love
That's
it. It's my
perfect.
favorite thing. I literally at work, because people at work who know I have the podcast, they're like, Simone, you guys should do this movie.
Oh, I love it. I love that people are giving you suggestions. That's so wonderful.
I immediately forget them, but I appreciate the gesture.
Exactly. And being Christmas time, it is the thought that counts.
It is. It really is.
Yes. And speaking of thoughtless
Beautiful.
countings, what movies are we doing this week, Simone?
Guys, we are doing a nice queer horror, queer Christmas. We should do queer horror. That would be a fun one. But this time
That would
it's
be fun.
Christmas. the LGBTQ community has recently won a huge victory in that they have their own crappy Christmas movies to complain about. And I love that for them.
Guys, we did it. We did it.
Oh,
4 more years.
Equality.
We did it.
Your goals were marriage
Yes.
and Christmas movies. And now, I mean,
You're here. Welcome to the
here
club,
you are.
guys.
Welcome.
This is the Shangri-La. Truly is. And we had to review them as soon as they came out. So which ones are
Immediately.
they, Simone?
So we were doing Happiest season, which did come out last year, but I still really enjoyed it.
Mhm.
And we're doing this year's Single All the Way.
I think this is maybe one of my favorite Christmas movies
It's
of
so
all time
fun.
now.
I really enjoyed
It's
it.
really put it up there with me. So I'm very excited to talk about it. But before we do decide in order, what are you
Yes.
drinking?
I'm just having a whiskey.
I too am having a whiskey.
Look at us. Yours
being
is a little
whiskey
fuller
people.
than mine, I feel.
I've had a very long day.
No, that's fair. And I did have a glass of wine with dinner before we started recording. So I think we'll get on the same level.
Oh, Simone, mixing, and it's whiskey and wine. You're a mad woman.
If they
Who
both
are you
start
this
with the
Christmas
same letter,
period?
it's fine.
Is this
I'm making
Simone's
that up
guide to
entirely.
white woman drinking? Guys, as long as you've only had 3, you can drive. It's completely fine.
Guys,
Don't
listen.
worry.
As long as you've had 1 carb, it's fine.
But then you've also got to remember your other rule: eating is cheating. So it's a balance.
It depends on the kind of night you're trying to have. Like, if you don't want your husband to get mad at you for coming home and throwing up again, you've got to slow down, sweetie.
You need to be writing coffee books for these kind of things. You would make a killing. It would be a lucrative
To the
career
wine
move for you.
moms.
It would be perfect. You are a wine mom, just cradled in your breast as a wine mom, ready to
I
pounce.
don't know if that's a compliment or not.
It's a Christmas compliment. We'll call it a
Okay,
Christmas
fair
compliment.
enough. I mean, I think there's a reason I don't want to become a mom, and it's partly
Mhm.
my genuine fear of being a wine mom.
Right. Okay. So you're just gonna be like a wine aunt.
Just to
Is
cope.
that like a better position to hold?
Exactly. All the wine, none of the kids.
Like it. Yeah. It's a safe bet. It's a very safe bet. So which movie? I mean, we're both drinking whiskey. So
Yeah.
who gets to go first? I mean, this is unprecedented. Should we do mine first? Because I think we both have a lot more problems with Happiest season than we do with
Okay.
with
Let's do
Single All
yours
the Way.
first.
Yeah. Let's talk about the happiness that is Single All the Way.
Yes, please.
So you've got Peter, played by Michael Urie, who really hates Christmas. As a gay single man, he hates going home for the holidays because his family always asks him why he's single and tries to set him up with a gay guy they know, really buying into the stereotype that all gay men want to date each other. You were going to say something.
They don't, right? They.
Yeah, so I think it's a
I'm
weird
joking.
dichotomy that. No, well, I mean, that's the thing,
Sorry,
right?
I just,
Because
for
men
the
are all
listeners who don't know,
gross.
for the listeners who don't know, I'm joking, obviously.
Well, I mean, I'm going to continue the joke by saying,
Please.
like men are gross and they'll put their penis in anything. So as soon as 2 gay guys come
Oh
together,
man,
I mean,
it's just.
obviously, yeah. So back to the story. This year is different, however. This year, Peter actually has a boyfriend. He is totally in love with this hunky, slightly older man, and he can't wait to show him off to his parents. Unfortunately, Peter's best friend and roommate, Nick, played by Philemon Chambers, is out one day and on a TaskRabbit job when he sees Nick's boyfriend arriving home with his wife and kids.
Oh,
I know. Oof.
Happens
So,
to the best
obviously,
of
Peter-
us.
Oh, I mean,
Not me personally, but I'm sure some
but yeah,
of us.
some people definitely. It's too true to be just fiction. So obviously Peter is devastated by this. Not only is his heart broken, but he now has to go home and face his family and the holidays alone once more. That's when he comes up with the brilliant idea to go home with Nick and pretend that they are in a loving relationship. Nick doesn't really want to do that, but after some cajoling, he agrees. So they go off to Peter's parents, which I think is in the Hampshires, but regardless, it's the East Coast and it's very fancy.
Yes.
So Nick's mum, Carol, played by Kathy Najimy, immediately tries to set him up with her spinning instructor. Peter tries to say that he and Nick are in a relationship, but Nick almost immediately dogs on him and says that he should go. So Peter goes out on this date with Carol's spinning instructor, whose name is James, played by Luke McFarlane. They have a really good time, and Peter feels all kinds of conflicted. He wants to spend time with James, but he also wants to spend time with his family because he never gets to see them, because him being based in LA doesn't mean that he gets to get to the East Coast all that often. At the same time, Nick is also feeling conflicted because he is starting to develop feelings for Peter. Sorry, let's try that again. Nick is also feeling conflicted because he is starting to develop feelings for Peter, something Peter's dad, played by Barry Bostwick, and his sister, played by Schitt's Creek's very own Jennifer Robertson, can see as plain as day. They also know that Peter definitely has feelings for Nick. So then lots of shenanigans ensue, but in the end, Nick confesses his love for Peter. Peter sort of does the same thing, but still feels conflicted about James and also doesn't want to risk their friendship, but then comes to the realization that he cannot live in fear. He runs after Peter and they fall madly in love. The end.
The end. Chad, what is your cliffhanger?
So it has to be this one, and it's the one where Carol is speaking to Peter as he arrives and talking about her LGBTQ plus book and how she's like a true ally, and I fucking love it because it's just like the cutest, most sweetest mom gesture in the
Yeah.
world, and it's unbelievable. I love it so very much.
I really enjoy it. What I like about this movie is like my fear with a lot of like gay romance movies is they'll kind of like skirt the fact that they're gay, and they're just like, oh, we wrote a heterosexual couple and made one of them a dude, or made both of them dudes. And this is very much like they still mention their sexuality. It's very clear and explicit that their families are super supportive. And yeah, it's like a little problematic, and that their family, like his family thinks he's just gonna fall in love with every gay guy that they introduce him to. But like, I think that's fun. I think like the cool thing about doing romance with like different sexual orientations is that like each sexual orientation experiences like different problems and like has different perspectives and different experiences, and if you include those in the script, that's what makes it fun and exciting.
Yeah, I think that's great. And what I really liked about this one was it wasn't just the sort of usual trope of, oh, we don't know that they're gay,
Yeah,
or oh,
exactly.
there's someone who has a problem with them being gay. Like, this is a family who is so fucking about their lifestyle, and they're just trying their best. They've got old school sensibilities, but they really, really appreciate it, and they're just absolutely trying their best to learn about this sort of gay community that they don't know anything about.
Yeah,
And it's not even like the main plot.
Sorry, go ahead.
There you go.
No,
I was just
I was interrupting you.
Look at this. It's so courteous. I love it. So, you know, like it's just so lovely that they're just like on board the whole time, and it's not even a main plot. Like, it isn't about them like trying to be on board. The main plot is about his like love life and how he feels about his family, and that's just really, really fucking sweet and different from what we're used to.
Yeah. No, I agree. I really love it. And like the whole town, like he doesn't have a single weird homophobic encounter one time. I mean, it's a Christmas movie, like it would be really fucking bizarre if they did include it. But it's just nice. I watched it and I was like, I love this. I love that the main conflict isn't really that they're gay at all. It's just that they can't acknowledge how much they love each other.
Yeah, it's really cute. And you know what? Their relationship is so, so lovely. Like, Nick and Peter's relationship is just delightful from the beginning. And you're rooting for both of them because they're so great. There's not a problematic character, you know, among them. I also really like appreciated the family aspect from Peter's side, like the fact that he was like, I really miss my family, I kind of want to come home, and like he's dealing with that kind of nonsense because that's quite rare in these movies. It's usually like, oh, I live in New York, I love my life in New York.
I'm a city guy, city gal.
Exactly. And he's just like, I actually fucking hate my model job. And I would have rather work with plants, and so I just want to do that for all time.
Plant shop. I love it. I love it. My only like little gripe with this movie is that the family does get very fucking pushy about them being together. And it's
Mhm.
fine, it's cute because they are actually like secretly in love, but if they weren't, it
Mhm.
would just make for like a very frustrating, awkward family visit
Yeah,
experience. Like where they're both like,
absolutely.
listen, we're not like we hear
Yeah.
you, but it's not.
Absolutely. You're so very right. And I think it's very much sort of like old school police leading the
Yeah.
suspect. You know, they put the words in their mouth until you're like, wait, did I kill that guy? And so like from Nick and Peter, they're just like, wait, do I like the guy, or is it just
I
because
guess.
this really pushy family
Yeah,
kind of forced me to?
exactly.
Yeah. I think my only gripe with this movie is that, you know, it's the fact that they don't realize they have such a connection for each other, but they are literally holding hands, interlinked
Uh-huh.
fingers. I'm
Uh-huh.
sorry, Simone.
No,
If
no.
if
Yeah,
if
the moment your fingers
I'm
are
in,
interlinked, you're in love.
yeah, that is a love thing. That is not a friendship
Yeah.
thing. Could you imagine if we ever linked fingers? How weird that would be. Like, look at your
Oh,
face. That is exactly the right reaction. Thank you. And you and I
no.
are very good friends. We love
Mm-mm.
each other
Mm-mm.
undeniably.
Mm-mm.
But
No. The
no,
only person I
no.
interlink fingers with is my boyfriend. And even then he's like,
Yes.
this is a lot because I have very pointy hands. And I'm bony.
Like a
And like
bird.
maybe a child if they really wanted to hold hands that way, but I would not enjoy it. You know,
No,
because kids like grab your hands all the time. I'm not
no,
going
I
around.
completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I believe you're not sort of, you know, going around to
Just
children
grabbing children
and
by
just
the
holding
hand.
their hands. No, you're all right. Yes. No, but like even with children, I think the mechanics of that wouldn't really work because their hands are so small. How would that
Oh,
interlock with your
their
hands?
little
No,
fingers.
it's gross. Oh, can I tell you a really gross story that's gonna give you both the heebies and the jeebies?
Oh
I used to
no.
have a student, for our listeners who don't know, I teach on the side. It's my side hustle. I had a student who, when she was concentrating on reading and stuff, wanted to put her fingernails in my fingernails.
No. No. Okay, here's my question. Was it like this? Like
Uh-huh.
or like that?
It was more like that. So like fingernail on top to fingernail
So
on
your
top.
fingertips were touching.
Like almost touching. Yes. And it was just, you know, and like with tiny little like 8-year-old children fingers as well. It was a terrible nightmare.
Sounds like a horror movie.
That child is definitely going to grow up to wear people's skin, like without question. That is a weird thing to do. So as you can imagine, that relationship, that child did not last long in my tutelage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But back to this movie, I really can't fault anything
I
else.
had a blast watching this movie.
Yeah, James is delightful. He's like a huge cutie, and like he doesn't even get upset that Peter and Nick are like much better suited. He's just like, yeah, okay, like I can see it. I can see how in love
fair
they
enough.
are. Yeah, because they interlock fingers. He is the human element of this. He
Uh-huh.
realizes interlock fingers means love.
Yeah.
Unlike Peter and Nick, who are just like,
Someone's
this
gotta
is a
say it.
normal thing. Yeah, exactly. So I guess like there's only one thing to do, and that's move on, because there's like fuck all to say really, apart from, you know, this movie is delightful. So what is your golden nugget?
Jennifer Coolidge, as always, is my golden nugget. I was
saw her on
thrilled
the
to see her in
poster.
this movie. I was thrilled to see her as the wine-on who puts on plays year in and year out. Nativity plays that are way over the top dramatic, because I, as someone who was raised Catholic, have been in my fair share of nativity plays, playing a variety of animals.
Did you ever get a lead role? Were you ever Mary?
Of course not. I'm not Mary material.
Oh, Simone, come on. I think you're Mary material. If not Mary material, definitely a gender bend wise man.
Thank you.
Look, there's not very many female roles.
No,
I'm just
I
trying
played,
to like...
I think the most memorable one for me was I played the mouse.
Oh, okay. Sure. Yes.
Look, they have to give all the kids animal roles. So. Actually, the Nativity is a pretty small cast of characters. I think
very small cast of characters. Yes, exactly. But look, I mean, from a logistics point of view, at least you can pretty much be sure that a mouse was there at the Nativity.
I mean, it was a barn.
It was a barn.
A manger.
They're barn mice. Yeah, exactly. She was fantastic in this. That scene she does where she plays the Mary seeing the angel for the first time and just screams. I fucking lost it. It was
I couldn't.
beautiful.
I can't.
Perfect.
I love her so much.
She's brilliant. Like she's a character actress that none of us ever deserved. And she's fantastic. And I want her for always. Yes. For me, I think it was the fact that like it was very clear that TaskRabbit sponsored this film without a question. It was just like every 5 minutes TaskRabbit was mentioned, and I love that as a plot device. You know, that is true synergy and integration of products.
Love
And
it.
I just really appreciated that. And then it was used in the plot to try and get Nick back from the airport in order to like so that Peter could confess his love. Perfect.
Beautiful.
That's what it's all about.
I love it. I'm obsessed.
Yeah. So would you watch this again?
Yeah, I would. It's actually a really charming movie.
Mm-hmm. Definitely adding it to my Christmas list from here on out.
I think it's the right combination of like very sweet and a little bit over the top Christmassy, and then like not really toxic like some Christmas movies can be. Not
mentioning
naming
any that we will discuss
names.
in
Happiest
minutes.
season.
Yes. So I mean, that's all we can say, guys. If you haven't watched this yet, you are
check it
sleeping
out.
on it.
It's
Go
so
and check it
nice.
out. It's so lovely. Go check it out before Christmas. Come on, guys. It tis the season.
Tis the season.
Tis the season. Right. So shall we move on to crappiest season?
Okay. Yeah, let's do this. Let's
Get yourself ready. You've got this.
Hope you guys are fucking ready. Okay. Abby, played by Kristen Stewart, and Harper, played by Mackenzie Davis, are in love. They have a very happy life together. Abby isn't like super fond of Christmas because her parents died 10 years ago and Christmas makes her sad. She's not a Grinch.
It's a pretty legitimate reason.
Harper, both of whose parents are still alive and kicking, loves Christmas. And she's ready to go back for Christmas. And Abby's like, no worries. I'm just gonna like pet sit for people. Super happy with that. And Harper gets a little bit kissing drunk and is like, you know what, you should come with me. I think it would be so cute if we spent Christmas morning together. And after spending the night thinking about it, Abby's like, actually, yeah, that would be dope. Maybe I could open myself up to loving Christmas again. So off they go. And then in the car on the way there, Harper reveals, hey, I actually didn't come out to my parents. They don't know you're my girlfriend. They think you're my roommate who's an orphan. So
exhausting.
Abby now has to spend the weekend pretending to be not Harper's girlfriend and pretending to be straight. So she meets Ted, played by Victor Garber. He is Harper's father, and he is running for mayor. They meet Tipper, played by Mary Steenburgen. And she is the mom. She's like super obsessed with helping her husband with his campaign. She's like really into Instagram and stuff. Abby also meets Harper's two sisters, Jane, played by Mary Holland, who's like kind of the family black sheep. She's like writing a fantasy book she's been writing for 10 years. She's very weird. No one expects anything from her. And Sloane, played by Allison Brie, who's like, she was a very successful lawyer, and then she gave it all up when she married her husband Eric, played by Burl Mosley, so that they could start a gift basket business together. Also, before she went, Abby revealed to her best friend John, played by Dan Levy, that she actually was planning on proposing to Harper on Christmas. Obviously, the whole lie about Harper coming out has thrown a spanner in the works. So shenanigans ensue. Abby has to sleep in a separate room in the basement away from Harper. Harper is like roped into helping her dad with his campaign a lot. She's also really conflicted because like she struggles with her identity when she's visiting her parents. So her parents also try to hook her up with her ex-boyfriend. What's his name? Connor, played by Jake McDorman. That's great. Also, they run into one of her one of her ex-girlfriends, Riley Johnson, played by Aubrey Plaza, who obviously Harper has kept under wraps. Basically all this leads to is Abby feeling very abandoned and alone, and Harper not giving her a lot of attention. As she becomes more and more disillusioned, and as she's like just trying to navigate stuff and try to make Harper's impossible family happy, she spends more time with Riley, and Riley tells her about the time that the school, or like some of Harper's friends, discovered a note for a love letter from Riley in Harper's locker, and Harper just threw her under the bus and outed her to everyone, so that was cool. Harper continues to be shitty right up until the final Christmas Eve party that Tipper throws. That's Harper's mom. And everything comes to a head. Sloane, who has a not healthy competition with her sister Harper, finds out that Harper is gay, outs her in front of the whole town. Harper still lies about it. Abby, by this point, is very upset, has called John to fetch her, and leaves. It's a big old mess. And then everyone's rightfully upset. The parents are like, oh, maybe we've put too much pressure on our daughters. And Harper runs after Abby, corners her at a gas station, gives her a romantic speech. They get back together. The parents decide that they're going to accept Harper for who she is. And then we cut to the following year where everything is hunky-dory. The end.
Oh, Simone. What a story. What is your cliffhanger for this
Oh,
one?
my cliffhanger is this fucking one. And it's when Abby's comes to gently wake up Harper and be like, hey, I didn't realize that you were going to be out till 2 a.m. Like, what? Are you okay? And Harper is such a bitch.
My
for
God.
no reason. And I just want
My God.
I just want to, okay. So at the end, when Abby's like, hey, Harper's not the person I thought she was. I'm not sure about this relationship. Everyone's like, you know, coming out of the closet is really hard. It's not easy for everyone. You have to give her time. And that's totally valid and true.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Abby's not upset about Harper not having come out of the closet. Abby is upset about Harper treating her like garbage.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Everything that Abby does in this movie is completely righteous.
Oh my God.
There is nothing here where she is actually at fault and miscommunicates her feelings. She is 100% the whole way. First of all, she's been lied to from the very beginning.
Immediately.
Harper has lied and traps her, essentially kidnaps her because she hasn't given her all the information that she needs to make an informed decision for this fucking trip.
Yep.
Abby is forced to go along. And then it's just fucking awful. She doesn't only meet her ex-boyfriend, which, I mean, it's not great, but it's fine, you know, because, you know, there's no sexual attraction there. But then you meet her ex-girlfriend, and then you also find out that she was thrown under the bus because Harper cannot come to terms with her sexuality. Yeah. Fucking hell.
And then it's one thing. It's one thing to be like, hey, your ex-girlfriend was really shitty when she was a kid and she didn't understand her sexuality. But then she's repeating all of that behavior all over again. I want to scream because, and then the script tries to make it out like it's actually just because Harper is so scared of her parents and that's why, but like she's shitty to Abby when her parents aren't around.
Yeah. That scene from your cliffhanger.
Yeah. She's shitty to Harper. She's shitty to Abby when they're all at the bar hanging out and Abby's like, hey, I want to go home. They have not spent any time together this whole trip. This would be a perfect opportunity for Harper to be like, hey, you know what? Yeah, should we go grab a snack? Like, let's go out. Let's hang out. This whole movie, do not get the single impression that Harper likes Abby. Never mind loves her.
No, absolutely not. Harper is such a reckless character. She just
so
does whatever the fuck she wants.
She's so manipulative.
Absolutely. She's a horrible human being. Like it's a psychologically abusive relationship because the second that Abby wants to leave, then Harper reacts and does things to keep Abby around. Yeah. And then Abby forgives her and comes back. Like this is not the good basis for their relationship. I mean, okay, look, not to place everything on the parents because obviously you make a choice.
Yeah.
but yes, given that her parents' love is completely conditional on their achievements and their accolades, you can understand that, you know, Harper probably doesn't have a very sort of healthy relationship with love. She doesn't sort
Sure.
of see love as a thing that is unconditional. It's very transactional, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But even so, the fact that she has lived so far away from her
Yeah.
parents for so long and has what seems, at the beginning of the movie at least, like a healthy relationship with Abby, you would think that she would have learned from the mistakes, learned that her parents are
Yeah.
actually fucking horrible human
Yeah.
beings, and
Like
then
she's
grown.
in her late
Nuts.
20s, early 30s, and she's still like, I just want my daddy's approval. Like, girl. And then I would argue that she's not even that great with Abby at the beginning. Literally, the opening scene is them walking through a Christmas lit street, which is something that Harper very much wants to do, and Abby is just indulging.
That's a good point. You make a very, very good point.
They don't,
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
whole movie, they don't do a single thing Abby wants to do.
Yeah,
Not
no, you're
one
absolutely
thing.
right. Even that scene where, you know, Sloane's kids basically, you know, frame Abby for theft. Like, you know, Sloane doesn't, not Sloane, Harper doesn't even come to her defense. Like, not even once.
No.
Like, she doesn't, like, yeah, she doesn't investigate. She doesn't do shit. She's just like,
Mm-mm.
well, I wasn't there, so I can't call it. Like, no, what? Are you fucking crazy?
And then Sloane outs her, which is, you know, very shitty on its own. Like,
Very
obviously no
shitty.
one should have to come out before they're ready. And I reiterate that the issue here was not that Harper hadn't come out, but that she was very shitty about it to Abby.
Yes.
Sloane outs her in front of everybody. And then Abby, like, thinks it's, I don't know, she like admits, she's like, yeah, Dad, I'm gay. And she acts like this was a big romantic thing. No, girl, the cat was already out of the bag. You were doing damage control. That is it.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason that it was just to keep Abby around.
Yeah.
Like, she just wants to keep Abby in her web because she doesn't want to be alone, because it's better to have this very placating person who is ultimately always going to forgive you,
and
just
then
hanging around.
Abby is rightfully upset after the weekend. She leaves, and then fucking Harper follows her to the gas station and corners her and just talks at her until Abby relents. It's like, it's so upsetting. I spent the whole movie being like, please tell me they don't get together. Please tell me they don't get together.
This would have been such a good movie if they hadn't got together.
I just, like, even fucking Riley, who, you know, is just really kind of a stranger to Abby, but is at least nice to her. I was like, maybe Abby and Riley get together because they actually have
so
fun.
Cute. That was so cute. Their scenes together are awesome.
So good. They have such chemistry, actually.
They do. They really do. They kind of fucked it up with the ending that they went for. Because Abby and Riley would have actually been a super cute couple.
Cute.
Like, the right height as well. Like, I was often looking at the logistics of Harper and Abby, and I was like, well, she's a giant and Kirsten Stewart is tiny. Yeah, exactly. How does this all work?
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. I think as well, Dan Levy is the best character in this.
Oh, he's so funny.
By far. He's brilliant. Like, he is the saving grace of this movie. If it wasn't for him, this movie would just be very, very dark and very problematic. His speech that he gives at the end to Abby in the snow about everyone's journey,
very
is
sweet,
different. So beautiful.
Yeah,
Such
even
a beautiful
though, like,
thing.
Again, coming out was not the issue.
Not the issue.
I cannot emphasize. But also, his character, with the context he has, actually couldn't have known that. Like,
yeah,
I get it. But Abby and Harper should not have ended up together. It was very upsetting that they did. I have never spent a movie feeling more terrible for Kristen Stewart, and she plays Diana.
Yeah, exactly. You make a very, very good point. Yeah. It's and you know what? Even in Twilight, those relationships were less toxic than this one.
At least it was clear Edward liked her. There was no. There's literally no single scene of them being together where they're doing something Abby wants to do and Harper's being like nice to her for the sake of being nice and not nice to her for the sake of fucking getting something out of it.
Yeah, exactly. Even that intimate scene where like they try to fool around, that's on Harper's dime. She just comes into Abby's room and like starts like fooling around. Like, it's all for her own self-flagellation.
It's so ridiculous. I
Yeah,
just, I
yeah.
have very, yeah. And then
Yeah.
obviously Sloane, it's revealed that she's going through a divorce, and that's why she and Harper are
Mhm.
fighting, because they don't want the other one to reveal their secrets. And I obviously want to say, like, it's never okay to out someone
Mhm.
without their permission ever. It
Oh,
doesn't
definitely.
matter how much of a divorce you're going through or how mean your
Yes.
parents are to you.
Yes. 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 Absolutely. It is a shitty thing to do just to be the favorite in the family. That is fucking diabolical. No wonder you are getting divorced. You're a horrible, horrible human being.
I
Um,
just,
That was also a really sweet scene. Obviously, you know, it's a horrible build-up when Harper then smashes the painting over Sloane's head, and then Jane's just like, "I spent hours on that. You guys
yeah,
suck."
Jane is
Like,
the
she
best
is the
character.
best.
I love her.
She's so lovely. She's great. I think that's the thing with this movie. Like, that's its saving grace, is that side characters are always are just
Yeah,
lovely.
Jane,
You
Riley,
know.
John, love them.
Hmm. Fantastic characters. Everyone else, awful. Every single one of them, just awful, awful people.
I mean,
Yeah.
even like the parents, like
Hmm.
obviously their daughters are like a little nuts, but like even the parents, you can see like it's not intentional, like it's not spiteful and it's not mean. They're just very intense people who have
Hmm.
very specific goals. They didn't mean to make it seem like their love was conditional.
Yeah.
And they immediately regret it when they realize that that's what they've done.
Yeah, it's wasp behavior at its finest,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's not forgivable, but it's you know, understandable.
Yeah.
Whereas Harper is just diabolical.
I
She's just evil.
I can't. I literally,
No.
I spent this whole, because I watched it. So I watched it last year,
Yes, yes, you
and
did.
you know, I was like, fair enough. Me, a straight white woman, I've never had to date someone who, you know, had to come clean about dating me, right? Or like
Mhm.
had to admit their sexuality to their family in order to
Yeah,
like introduce me to their parents. Like, so you know,
yeah,
who am I to
fine.
judge? So I was like, you know what,
Yeah,
maybe that is a fair judgment. Maybe that is something that I've just not considered, and I'm being really unfair to Harper. And then I watched it a second time this year, and I was like, no, Harper's the worst.
yeah, exactly. No, you're absolutely right, and there's no way around it. Yeah, this was it was a weird protagonist to choose, and it was weirdly written for this. Um, yeah, apparently I was looking it over, and apparently, you know, the director decided to take on this project because it was something very similar to her own life. And I'm like, oh God, which
Girl,
one were you?
I
Because if you were
know. I was
Abby,
gonna
then I feel for
say,
you. If you were Harper, you're the devil, and I don't like you. You know, don't explain it if you were the Harper in this situation. If you're the Abby, you've always got a place to stay. But if you're the Harper, wow, yeah.
mhm.
Yikes. So do you have a golden nugget for this one?
Uh, oh, my favorite scene is the one where Riley and Abby are having a drink in the drag bar, and then
Uh-huh.
the drag queens are doing their like little like Christmas performance.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
fun. I was like, oh
It's
my
super
God,
cute.
I did not realize I wanted to go to a Christmas drag show until right this very minute.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's all I want. And then like it just, you see Abby have a nice time and Riley's nice to
Yeah.
her, and she just like generally is like, you know, not sad for a second,
Yeah.
and it's nice.
Yeah. It's lovely. It's a good respite from everything else that happens in this movie. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You make a good point. For me, it's Dan Levy. You know, the man is an absolute genius. His comedic
He's so
timing is
cute.
fantastic. He's just lovely, and I want him in my life always to just say things. You know, that bit where he's like, "What do you bench?" and the guy's like, "Oh, it's like 250. What do you bench?" and he's like, 1,000. Like, just the
You
context of
gotta
it
act
is fucking
straight. I
brilliant.
can't.
It's so good in every way,
It's so
and
funny.
he's perfect. He's a perfect man, and he saved this movie for me.
Yeah.
Like every
Yeah.
scene that he was in, I just perked up. It was so good. Yeah. So, I mean, you watched it last year. You've watched it this year. Will you be watching it next year?
No, my heart can't handle that level of fury and
Mhm.
rage.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Why would you waste your time watching this again? I mean, don't even watch it a first time unless you want to feel enraged this
I would
Christmas.
watch it again if they released a new version where Abby and Harper don't get together.
Yes, alternate ending.
Yeah.
Yes, where Riley and Abby get together.
Yeah,
and it's just
Riley and Abby get together.
perfect. Yeah,
And Harper just
would
has
have actually,
to be sad and work on herself
yeah,
a little
exactly.
bit. Harper.
Yeah, which would be nice. I would have loved to see the proposal scene actually, whether Abby proposed to Harper or whether Harper took the bullet
You
and
know Abby
proposed to Abby.
proposed to Harper. Harper wouldn't do a
Yeah,
single nice
of
thing
course she
for
did.
Abby if she could help it.
Not a chance. Yeah, you make a very good point. Yikes. That makes me sad in my heart. Yeah. But I gotta agree with you. I'm never gonna watch this again, and I wouldn't recommend other people watch it. Just
I mean,
leave this one alone.
check it
It's
out
not worth
if you want to make a judgment for yourself.
it.
Or if you want to just have
Yeah.
some nice rage porn.
Mm-hmm.
It's honestly the production value, like the script, everything is really
Mhm.
solid. It's just that the romance doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I mean, we have said some very divisive things here, so I'm sure people will want to make their own opinions on this. But, and I mean, that's the spirit of Christmas, is it not? Is it informed opinions and appropriate discussion over the Christmas
Exactly.
table?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Well, Merry
I will
Christmas.
say, us straight people have had our fair share of toxic couples in
Yes.
Christmas movies.
Yes.
More than our fair share. And I'm just so happy that the LGBTQ plus community can also
Yes.
experience that for yourselves.
Exactly. You guys, you're so very welcome. Thank you for joining us. We're so glad there's a seat at the table now for you, and I'm so excited to see more incredibly problematic LGBTQ plus movies in the future.
Toxic, yeah.
Awful. I'm so excited for the boyfriend from New York who has no time for the small village life, who comes to visit his boyfriend
Yes.
at the small town and hates it, and then they get into a massive fight again. It's gonna be great.
I'm so
very
excited.
excited for it. Yeah. Or like, yeah, let more lesbians like that. I want to see more toxic lesbians. Yay!
Yay! Toxic lesbians. Or some
Oh.
gender non-conforming, non-binary
Yes.
people. That could be fun.
Let's have some non-binaries. Yeah, let's have a 2022, the year of the non-binary Christmas. Let's have it.
Yes, throw it back to the whole spectrum.
Exactly. Well, Merry Christmas, everyone,
Merry
and to a one and all, a
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Simone, by the time this comes out, Christmas will be like 3 days away. How are you prepped? Like, do you have your comfy pants on? Have you been like practice eating? And what are you most looking forward to on the Christmas table this year?
Okay. So I've got to say, I've actually got my Christmas decorating planned for tomorrow. Much like Harper, I am in a relationship with someone who doesn't love Christmas for very valid reasons. So we compromise and I wait a little bit to like decorate for Christmas. But I already have some fairy lights in the fireplace because it's summer here. So lighting a fire is really not an option.
It's insane.
I'm gonna put up Christmas stockings. I've got it's a nativity gourd that my mother bought me.
Yes.
So it's a dried, hollowed out gourd with a little nativity scene in it. And I put that as a centerpiece on our table with a tablecloth that my mom embroidered for me. And then I desperately, Chad, this year, I want to buy Christmas pajamas. I want to buy themed Christmas pajamas for myself and for Rudy.
Do it.
Especially because it is just going to be the two of us on Christmas Day. So like, let's be comfy. And then
just be comfy.
We've sort of started discussing what we want to make for Christmas lunch because we do try to make it like a bit of an indulgence. And the only thing we've settled on, which Rudy insists will be a starter and not a main, is lasagna calzones.
Yes, you mentioned this with David, and I mean, I could get behind it before because I assumed it was the main, but the fact that he wants this as a starter makes me worried for you.
Yes,
very, very concerned.
I guess I could make like little mini calzones as a starter.
You see, my issue with that is like,
it's still a lot of carbs.
With the lasagna aspect of it, you feel like you're gonna need quite a big calzone to get the lasagna inside it.
I hear you. Because I was like, oh, okay, so we wouldn't put like lasagna sheets in it. We would just put like a bechamel and the meat sauce. And he was like, no, there has to be pasta in it. So I'm concerned about how this is going to work out.
Your boyfriend is a genius. There is no denying it.
He's a madman.
I respect him as a genius. I've seen his work before. I've seen what he's been able to create. But I am very worried for your safety over this holiday period.
Me and my arteries.
If you do need help, like there's nothing I can do, but it would just be like nice to know. It would be good to be able to send you thoughts and prayers.
Just so there's a record of me having needed help.
Exactly. Like I don't want it to come to like the episode of missing or murdered.
Right. And you were like,
I would have never known.
Seen the signs.
Yeah.
Got you. You're a lawyer. You like to have everything documented. I hear you.
Exactly. Thank you. I appreciate you doing this for me. That's a huge gift
I'll
upon your
let
demise.
you know. What does your Christmas prep look like?
Right. So I mean, I'm still in the process, but basically I'm going over to my parents for Christmas Eve. I'm going to cook them a breakfast, a really nice breakfast.
You are such a
they're
lovely
working.
son.
Oh, thank you. So I'm going to do them a nice breakfast and maybe like do them a nice lunch so that they can go off to work with a lovely lunch.
Nice.
Then I'm going to hang out at their place for a little bit because it's heated. And like my flat.
I mean, your place could be heated too, Chad.
It could be, but I don't get paid enough. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Jumpers work just as fine. So I'm going to hang out at their place for a while, and then I'm going to drive down. Christmas, I am cooking. I have no idea what I'm cooking yet. I think I need to discuss the Christmas menu with Georgette's stepdad, because I saw a really cool recipe for 15-hour potatoes. I don't know if you've
seen those. Yes.
It looks fucking amazing.
I'm intimidated, but intrigued.
I'm very intrigued. For our listeners, this potato looks unbelievable. So basically you like slice them up real thin, put the butter in them, make them really nice, then you layer them, put them in the fridge for 12 hours, take them out, cut them.
Don't you bake them for a little bit?
Yeah, you have to bake them for a bit. Salt, garlic, all the nice bits. Put them in the fridge for 12 hours, make sure it's nice and compact. You want to put like heavy weights on top of them in a baking tray. Press it down so they're really nice and compact, like a book. Then you fry them, light fry them. It's like a pages of a potato, and it just opens and it's crispy. So beautiful. And oh my god,
it looks so good.
It's so good. Yeah. So I suggested it. I brought it out to Georgia. I was like, hey, I found a potato dish. I could do that for Christmas, and I have not had a response on that point yet. So we will see.
I think you should just go ahead and do it yourself.
Okay. Run that risk.
I mean, worst comes to worst, you have a bunch of potatoes you have to eat by yourself. Like, oh no.
Delicious potatoes. Oh well. Yeah, you make a good point. Yeah, I think I'm gonna risk it to get that biscuit. Yeah, do it. So yes, but we found out like 2 days ago that Georgette isn't working on Christmas, so
nice.
It's a Christmas miracle,
nice,
which is really nice. Yeah, so we should have a good Christmas.
Oh,
it'll be lovely.
So happy.
Yeah. So what is your gratitude for this week then, Simone?
My gratitude for this week is paid leave.
Hell yeah.
I saved up. Well, I mean, I didn't save up a bunch of leave. I was just very broke through most of the year. So I had a bunch of leave ready to go. So now I have just over 2 weeks holiday completely paid for by my company, which I'm thrilled about.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, just the idea that you don't have to do any work, but you're still getting paid. This is what landlords feel like, I'm sure.
No. Do you think?
Maybe. I mean,
I would never. I mean, we'll never know.
We'll never know. Never know. Yeah. As 30 Rock has told us, the middle class will be renting forever. Yeah. God. Okay. That's depressing. Yeah. My gratitude for this week is comfy sweaters. Like this is the perfect time for a good sweater, and the comfier, the warmer, the better. It just feels like a hug. You're just wearing a hug the whole time, and I really appreciate that. And like especially like with Christmas sweaters, they're always very warm, obviously, and I just really appreciate that.
Have to turn on your heat.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is a double-edged, a double gratitude that I don't have to turn on my heat because of these warm, cozy sweaters, but also just the hug.
How cold are your fingers right now?
They are fine because they've been in my blanket. I am also wearing a blanket.
And your feet?
So, my feet are cold. My feet are very cold. Yes. That I will give you. My feet are very cold. When there is no one watching, I'd also don a hat in my apartment like a proper crazy person.
I love this for you.
I am very excited to get a pay bump next year. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, he's just gonna blast that heat up to tropical next year.
Oh, Simone, I'm gonna be growing plants. It's gonna be outrageous. The humidity in my flat
Oh
next year is
my.
gonna be disgusting. It's
Oh.
gonna be like a nightclub at 2 a.m. Just
Oh my
the walls sweating.
Oh.
Oh God. So Simone, Christmas is now, by the time for our next episode, Christmas is going to be over. So it is sort of the last sort of non-Christmas, non-holiday week.
Yeah.
What do we feel like doing?
Should we do worst of 2021?
Yes, I think it has to be that week,
Okay.
doesn't it?
Worst?
Right, let's have a look.
Because I feel like we've covered a lot of bad movies, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
Not worst movies of 2021. Oh God. Thunder Force. That wasn't that bad.
After We Fell.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so we're doing that one.
Uh-huh. We could do Dear Evan Hansen, but I'm not convinced I want to watch Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you with that
But
one.
it was rated very poorly.
Apparently people are saying House of Gucci is bad, but I don't really want to watch House of Gucci.
No. Should we just do Dear Evan Hansen?
Oh, we could. No, I don't feel like doing that. Yes, unless I find something in the next 4 seconds, we will do Evan Hansen, because I saw Coming to America, but I don't want to watch that. Yeah, fuck it. Let's do Dear Evan Hansen and After We Fell. That is the new one, isn't it?
Yeah. Or isn't it After Ever After or some shit?
Hold on. I'm gonna go on Prime now. It is
Please.
on Prime.
Oh God. I'm actually very excited to watch the new After movie. They're so bad. I love them.
They're so wonderfly toxic,
Just
and it
cotton
makes me
candy for your brain. Actually, worse, like cotton
Exactly.
candy flavored vodka for your brain.
So no, it is After We Fell. So it's after we collided and after we fell.
Okay, sorry.
Fuck yeah, I'm so excited. Okay, cool. All right, let's I'll lead you in for that one again. Okay. So Simone, it's the last sort of normal week before the end of the year. So what are we gonna watch? What are we doing for this next week?
So we obviously, it's the end of the year, which means we have to cover the worst rated movies, or some of the worst rated movies that were released in 2021. So we're going to start with one that you really like, which is After We Fell.
I'm so excited.
I'm
so
very
excited.
keen. I'm so keen.
Yes. Oh my god.
They're so
They're
beautiful.
bad.
They have such great chemistry. The script is terrible. I'm thrilled.
I'm so about it. Yes. I might even go and watch the other two again. Just to
to recap.
Just to
Yeah.
get it in my system.
Yeah, I hear you. And then we are gonna do Dear Evan Hansen.
Okay.
I
Alright,
presume you have
fine.
not seen the stage musicale.
No, it was
neither.
never of an appeal to
neither.
me, to be honest.
I saw the trailer.
I don't oft choose my musicals by the amount of suicide in them, to be honest. So
Best avoid it.
not
Yeah.
overly keen. Do you want to make bets now of whether James Corden is in this or not?
I'm pretty sure he's not.
I assume he's not, but I think he's got a contract to be in terrible musicals, so who knows?
Who's to say? Who's
to say?
to say? I mean, I'm sure Ben Platt is perfectly capable of ruining it by himself. So,
Ooh, that's some shots fired.
Shame. Ben Platt, I think he's a fantastic singer. I think he's very talented. I don't think necessarily that he, who looked old at 18, should be playing a 15-year-old. Some of us just don't have that kind of face. I get it.
No, completely agree. Yes, absolutely. 100% agree with you. Well, there you have it. So, I mean, this should be a very interesting week coming up. I am so excited
High
for
drama.
After We Fell. I think I'll definitely be watching Dear Evan Hansen first, and then I'll finish it off with a.
I think that's a good idea.
delicious
Just
After
go
We
all the way
Fell.
down and whoop, back up.
Straight back up. Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate it. Tell us what is on your Christmas menu. What are you guys doing? Tell us about your comfy pants. What do your Christmas pajamas look like? Tell us, have you ever held a child's hand? Would you do it into linked fingers? Would you do it nail by nail, or just like a human would and just cup their hands? Tell us all these things, and where can we do that, Simone?
Please send us pictures at Fresh on Facebook and Instagram at Fresh Tomatoes Podcast, on Twitter at Fresh Tomatoes MP. Email us pictures at freshtomatoespodcast@gmail.com. We cannot wait to be flooded with creepy images this
So excited.
Christmas season.
Yes, Christmas is all about horror, and is there anything more horrific than that?
Good
Let's
Lord.
be fair. And as we say at the end of every episode, we love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Goodbye.
Bye.